Greetings of honor coming to everyone out there, especially to all my Ifaminiela family. How are we doing today? Greetings of love and honor to every one of us, today and forever. I have clarity that the week has been beautiful, as we so determined to stay in the light of God, which is the beauty in us, all around us, straight path all the time. The aim of Ifaila Ministry is to engage every one of us on the importance of removing every aspect of gaps between man and woman, because the separation between man and woman is not beneficial to man or to woman. The separation between man and woman is definitely not beneficial to any one of us. Last week, what we discussed was focused on, do you love God? That was the question that we treated last week. And the center of that was about every one of us having clarity that the love of God in our lives, all around us, is the ultimate. And just saying the word love may a lot of the time sound somewhat simple. But that's the only one thing that is not simple at all. It takes us having to learn precisely what love means to be able to engage with that and practice love in a genuine manner, meaning in the way that God has instructed us to practice love. And with last week's discussion, my clarity is each and every one of us who, or the one person that possibly listened to the video, will have taken or received something from the importance of love. That a person might have everything. When we don't have love, everything will have. So obviously, it's like having a car, if you like, without the fuel. So love is that gives everything we have the light of God, the beauty of God, that makes that which is the portion of love allocated to us to last forever. It's only love that can do that, especially if we're able to look at love from the aspect of the light of God, that keep everything moving smoothly without hindrance. That's love of God. We all definitely need love. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have or what you don't have. When you have love, then you have everything. I love you. This week, what we are going to be teaching one another is more of a continuation from last week's topic. Do you love God? Only this week, the highlight of that is love must overflow. It is one thing to love God. Some of us, I know it in my heart, that some of us already grasped the importance of love, and we're still working on how to totally engage with that. But some people that are still in the process of engaging with love, nothing is impossible with the strong arms of everlasting loving God, Morumi Faila. So my clarity is we will all get there. We're all going to be able to engage fully with our love on time, not before, not after. On that note, let love flow like a river of life that is flowing with clarity forever. Even for most of us or some of us, or few of us, or maybe just even a handful of us, that will not compromise love for anything. We still need to have the clarity and the importance that love must overflow. Because if love don't overflow, then it's almost as if when we say we must keep things moving, because that's the meaning of life, to keep things moving. Immediately a person gets up in the morning and the light of God shines on us, meaning we're able to put our feet on the ground. It means there's a purpose for that. So we have to keep things moving. It's the same thing that applies to love. Love has to flow. It's like rain. There's a reason why heaven gives us rain. When rain falls, it touches every aspect of life and refreshes every aspect of life, and life grows from that. Now, we all know with clarity that everything is Ifa, meaning life, meaning light of life. Now, when we know the meaning of love, we will know not to compromise love. Because everything is Ifa, the clarity there is meaning God create every aspect of life. I think that's obvious to every one of us. However, on that note, God also measure everything according to its own weight. That's what I meant when I say, though everything is Ifa, but God will not give anyone Ifa that they cannot carry. So there's a measure of Ifa that is allocated to each and every one of us. And it is all for a very special purpose. And it does not matter how you might think the Ifa meaning love of God that is allocated to you is small. There's no such thing as small Ifa. It's just what is allocated to you, which is befitting to the measure of your weight. Because if more is allocated to you, you will not be able to carry it. So another way to look at love is meaning you lift Ifa up, your Ifa lifts you up. Light of God is lifting us up. And it is the same token that we must lift the love of God in us up. It goes both ways. God loves us. There's no question about that. But the next level of a person is to love God. But for my little experience in the world, we have not particularly been taught how to love God. In spite of countless and numberless of religions in the world, I don't think that we've actually been taught how to love God. At least I can speak for myself. No one has taught me how to love God. properly, especially not how it's written that we should love God. Of course, we were told right and wrong. Don't lie, don't steal, don't hurt somebody, don't kill, don't bear false witness, don't, all this stuff. 10 commandments, we can say that. Love one another, honor one another, all of those stuff. But the key thing, the obvious thing is, we don't practice it. People may even think, love your neighbor. It has to mean something superficial. No. The love your neighbor that I'm talking about is every one of us loving one another according to the will of God, globally. Not superficial love that sometimes is so keen to or stop at loving your neighbor. Because if we don't love each other globally, there's no such thing as loving your neighbor. All of that will just remain with superficial, some kind of a love, which is just things that people practice, but it has nothing to do with love. Love is how you first of all, we can't even start to talk about love really until we learn how to love the Creator of all things, that we are one of them. The world has to start, we have to start to teach one another how to love God. Not the way man loves God, but the way God loves God. Meaning, there's God in everyone, in everything. So it will not be outstatement when one may say, everything is God, isn't it? If God is in everything, everything is God. So when we don't start to see ourselves as God, call it small God, call it whatever kind of God you want to call it, but if we don't see ourselves as God, how are we possibly going to be able to love God, God way? See, now we can all see the importance of every one of us begin to mentally remind ourselves who we are in God way, which will in return reinforce how we relate to one another. Because when we're able to relate, first of all, to how God has made us to relate to God, that will help us to begin to relate to ourselves God way. So it's just two of same thing really. God loves us. We have to begin to love God. And love of God must overflow. Just the same way as when rain falls on earth, it refreshes everything, beautify everything, things begin to grow, then we have harvests. That is the meaning of love must overflow, same as the river of life that overflows with clarity of God love. We have to start doing the work now of learning about love, of learning the meaning of love of God, about learning how to begin to relate to one another the way of God. But we have to first of all, don't think it's a strange thing or an offense to anyone or anything for every one of us to start to think of who we really are, the aspect of God that we really are. We cannot compromise that. Last week, I mentioned that love is not what you give and what you take. You give a person or anyone or something, it doesn't matter whatever relationship that may be, you give a person a certain ounce, which one is able to give, which is what takes place most of the time. Even when you're a giver, you're meant to give not to harm yourself or to hurt yourself or to undermine your own purpose. However, when you do give, people want more. They will always want more than a person can give. And then they will begin to do all sort of things, do all sort of plots, and be assuming you have more, you just don't want to give them, or all sort of stuff. And they will start to visit all sort of I don't even want to go there. The so-called, I don't know what's the so-called know how to secret and things like this. I don't agree with the word secret. Like Ifila, when a person is Ella, when a person is Ifila, and you can't practice anything secrecy. Clarity do not abhor secrecy. Of course, you could decide this certain thing is a choice. I not ready to discuss it with this person, or it's personal between me and God. That's separate. We just have to mind what comes out of our mouth, and our mindset. Our mindset should be disconnected from anything secrecy. I remember my sisters. I've always taught them that when you engage with anyone in any sort of relationship, well, obviously we only do friendship relationship. We don't even do friendship with benefits. From get-go, I remember I always say to them, if anyone says to you, it is secret, don't tell anyone. I say to them, I don't do secret. I don't have clarity as to what secret is. Because secret is something that don't come with clarity. And if something don't have clarity, what is that? Of course, everyone is allowed to have their own kind of people, your own team, type of people, your own people you connect with, your own group of people. You have clarity together. You make sense together. I'm not saying, obviously, everybody have their own type of people, their own kind of people. And people that you function together, that you make sense together. Life is beautiful together. When you understand what I'm trying to say, that has nothing to do with secrecy. It's just people that make sense together. But it's the mindset that is the key here. And these are the things that we need to know to encourage love to flow. Even in your own group setting, people that you make sense together, your mindset should not be secrecy. Your mindset should be, we gather together to build our nation, to beautify the beauty of God that we are. Do you get it? It's the mindset. So for love to flow, a lot of things that we do and say has to be reviewed. Our mindset has to be refreshed, has to represent God, has to represent. We have to speak beauty of God to be able to function in beauty of God. Our mindset has to merge what we speak. So you can't speak one thing and your mindset is speaking another, or your mindset is not even connecting to the beauty of God that you're speaking. And there's beauty of God in everything. That is what God needs us to connect with, to overflow, because we can't say everything God has created is beautiful and then we say something else or we're doing another. And we all know that God is perfect. I think in most religion they have a verse there that says God is perfect. So when we say God is perfect, there's no but in it. Now we have to learn how to be God that we are. Because we're in God's time now, Therefore, we have to learn God's way. We have tricked ourselves for so long, making ourselves to feel that God cannot be involved in what man do, or what men, man as in man, people. God cannot be involved in what people are doing when it's the breath of God that keeps us alive. Do you see that trick there? That's trickery kind of statement. We want everything good from God because we know that nothing is good without God. Yet again, we don't want God to be in our affairs. When without God, we don't have affairs. Without God, we don't have life. So these days when I sit back and God begin to speak to me through that tangible God, it just makes me to look at us like, what are we doing really? Do we really? Of course, we can make airplane, we can create cars, we can build all of this stuff. But really, it just, and this sounds kind of funny, it is funny. When it comes to things of God, we're still childish. And I personally don't think it is necessary for us to be childish when it comes to things of God. Because it is time for every one of us to be better. If we were to relate to God, this is God time. We have to be better in our mindsets and how we relate to God. Because love must overflow. If love don't overflow, it's almost like not allowing life to move forward. It's almost like entertaining death. When love does not flow, it is almost equivalent to entertaining death. And in God, there's no death. There's life. For example, every one of us will say, I love God from when an individual person says, I love God, it means different thing to different person, I think. But let's look at it this way. When exactly is the last time that you've done something for God without asking for anything in return? That you just feel like doing something, you just feel like doing something for God. Because most of the time people want to donate money and they want everybody to know about it, how much they've donated to some people or someone. Is that doing something for God? So something that I'm talking about is that which is just between you and God. And that's it. I don't even think most of us even comprehend what I'm trying to say when I say, what do you do for God? Like, it has nothing to do with anybody else. And you're not doing it to ask God for something. Because what I notice is about people, they just want and want and want and want from God. And need from God. That's all they do. They ask God for stuff. They don't think that they need to give anything to God because God don't need anything, we will say. We know that because we know that love is the heart of God, the fuel of God that gives us life, that keeps everything moving. So the love between us needs to overflow so that love must touch everything, which is the same thing as when it rains, it touches everything. So, for example, if the love between two people, for example, does not overflow, How do we expect that love to touch God? Because life is back and forth, isn't it? Show and flow. Show and flow. So when we love one another genuinely, it is automatic. The love will overflow like rain or like river that overflows and touches everything. And the overflow comes around and overflows again, back and forth. So it is really very vital that we have to learn a way to practice love that overflow, because I really genuinely feel it in my heart that we're not going to get away from not loving each other properly like the way of God. And so far, the practices of man, the practices of people, we haven't even started to love each other properly, let alone of loving each other in a manner that will overflow. And God is not going to have it any other way. We have to practice love that overflow, because that's how God relates to the earth. Love of God overflow. So what makes you think we're going to get away with not treating one another with love that overflow? There's more to loving God, and there's more to loving one another, to the point of whereby love will overflow between two people. All of this that I'm talking about, sincerely, has to start from a home, from a family. So if two people are still struggling to be friends enough that their love overflow, how can they touch their children with love that is overflowing? So it really has to start from two people. When we learn to have a love that overflow between us, that love will overflow to our children, and that love will overflow to our community at large. Because the community starts within a family and it becomes global. So that love that overflow has to start from one person. I'm still learning the way of God, whereby I will become that love that overflow. Now my praise, my badala is that I will be with someone that is willing to learn about how love of God overflows. So when two people are together, these are the things we need to be taught as people. We're taught how to be an engineer, a doctor, a teacher, all of this. But we're not taught the key things that makes life to make sense. We don't know how love should overflow between two people. Instead, we're doing totally the opposite. The key thing that I would say represents a place where we all need to get to become love of God that overflow is really, we all need to know that it's important to honor our own space, our own position enough that we won't have any reason to transgress to somebody else's position. Because transgression seriously causes restlessness and chaos in people's life. I still don't get it why people will talk about God and we just don't function in the way of God at all. Not even in a teensy-weensy way. And we make life so impossible for those who don't even know any other way to function. And I am one of those people, genuinely. And for that, I found life has been so difficult for me. Until now, of course, that I've come into God that I am. People just want to transgress. You give, people want to take all and then kill the giver. What is that? I give honor to life that all of that has come to an end in my world. I don't know about your world. But Ifa is something that the weight of it nobody can carry. But it's given to us according to our weight. God measure a person's weight and give you the portion of your love, meaning the portion of your Ifa each one of us are born with. So it does not make sense for somebody to just want to get somebody's position, to steal, to kill, to maim, to murder, all this stuff. Nah. Love must overflow. That is the meaning of God time. And I remember one of the questions that I was asked one time was, what does higher plane mean? Because in one of my songs, I think I said something of that nature. Because I sing as well. One of the songs that I, 2016 that I wrote, and I recorded it, said something about higher plane. And then somehow energy would come and ask me, what does higher plane mean? And I remember saying it's God time. It is genuinely God time now. That's all you need to know. You need to know the portion of love that God has allocated to you, because that's all you can carry. God will not give you that which you cannot carry. I know mine. And I'm learning how to make it overflow. Now, you have to learn how to make yours overflow and beautify your place, your position, as I must have to do with my place and my position. And that's how we function together, and our love will overflow. So God is the one we must love first. And then God will begin to guide us how to love ourselves. So only God in us that we are teaches us and helps us to know how our love must overflow. Make your love overflow. In other words, do you love me? Above all, do you love yourself? What I'm trying to say when I say, do you love me, is there's no reason for us to be asking God, do you love me? Because we know that God loves us. Did you not wake up today and you're in a good health and you place your feet on the earth and you keep it moving? So why else are you saying, God, do you love me? It is time you start to ask yourself, how do I practice the love of God that is in me, that I am? How do I become a person that is overflowing with love of God? Same as the river of life that flows without any hindrance. And when you're able to do that, you find that there will be no hindrance in your life. It doesn't matter what man are doing or what they are not doing. Man, I mean as people. You cannot love yourself unless you know how to love God properly. It's a daily routine. It's every day. It's not something you just learn one day and then that is it. It's a daily routine. It's a way of life. If you feel today, oh my, I could be better today, then tomorrow you're better. It's a daily way of life. It's a daily routine. There is God that is in you, that you are, that's more than able to make you perfect. You don't go and say, I'm perfect, I'm going to be perfect. No, that's not what I'm saying. But your mindset is, if God inside of me is perfect, I am perfect. And then every day is a step at a time. When you don't know how to be perfect, the God in you will make you perfect. It's the mindset. Your mindset has to be of clarity, not of complications and tricks and misunderstanding and all the characteristic that is not of God. Don't connect with that. Don't feed your energy into that. If you can just make that decision, just do your ibadah, your praise. God, keep my energy in a place whereby I will not know how to connect my energy with anything that is not of your glory, that is not of your light that I am. And then God will begin to do precisely that. Because you say that praise from your heart. You're not pretentious. You're not saying, God, give me car, give me house, give me. You're saying, I love you, God, without compromise. And God will not compromise you either. I don't think we say enough of that type of praise as people. And as it is our way of life, in Ifeala ministry, we give honor to all our ancestors. We celebrate all our ancestors, now and forever. And we celebrate all the energy of life, the generations of ancestors that we are. Instruction of the week. What do I mean by that? Love is what you partake in 24/7. Honor the love of God that you carry. Honor the love of God that carry you. It goes both ways. Don't give it up. Don't give the portion of love of God as allocated to you. Don't give it to nobody. Give it only to God that gave it to you. Connect it with God. Become an overflow love. And connect it to the source, because it is the source that knows how to allocate love to each and everything according to the weight, the measure of God in them or in that person. Only God that you must connect your love with, because God will lift you up as you lift God up. Because from God comes love, the energy of life. That is where we must connect our love. Because people of the world are very fond of greed and being a waster. But when you connect your love to the source that gave you that love, you will continue to be an overflowing love that will never wither. As the tree of life, the river of life never wither. So that is what we need to learn to do as people of God. Connect our love to the source. The source is the distributor of love. As we become overflowing love, the source knows how to distribute love that will go around and come back to us, as we are the source of God. It is so sad. It's almost like, say for example, a person, you're inside water. Yet again, you're thirsty. This is the way of man. This is the way of the world. This is the way of the people of the world. They want to take everything that don't belong to them. They have enough of their own, then they want to take everything that don't belong to them, something that belongs to somebody else, and then they become greedy and they waste it. Don't be responsible for anyone taking your energy and wasting it anymore. Connect the energy of love, the God of love that you are, to the source, God that gave it to you. And you become love that overflows forever. That comes with knowing the importance of our connection to ancestors, of ancestors' connection to us. Our love, our energy must continue when we connect our love, our energy, full of life with the source. It's the same thing as saying we're connected to ancestors, because ancestors are connected to us. It's too much distraction that makes people to not be aware or be clear of what I'm saying now. Be too distracted by things that are vain, if you like. But nothing is actually vain when you yourself stop being vain. God love you. It's your time to love God now. That's the meaning of God time. We shouldn't. Do we really think that God is just going to love us and then we're not going to love God? We're just going to be wasting God's love? When we start to sit down as people and meditate and think about God, I don't think what I'm saying will sound strange anymore. connect your love, your energy of life, the beauty of God that you are, to the source, because you need your energy, you need your love to build your nation, for you to have a life that is worthy of living. You need the life of God and the energy of God that God has given to you to build your world. This is the reason why it is so important to connect. Connect your love to the Creator. Connect your love to the Ancestor. Connect your love to the Source. What I'm saying in essence is that when you connect your love to the Source, you become an overflowing love of life. And love of God will just continue to overflow in your life. It goes both ways. Now, when anyone decided to connect with you, or if anyone decided to connect with you, anyone feel the need to connect with you, let them connect with you in the love of God. For love then will only beget love. If anyone feel the need to connect with you, let them connect with you in honor of God. Then honor will beget honor. If anyone feel the need to connect with you, let them connect with you in the beauty of God. Then beauty will beget beauty. That is God's time that we have entered into. I don't know about you, but it is clear to me that we're in God's time now. And each and every one of us need to start the work of becoming the God that is in us, that we are. That's what we're going to be forever. That's God forever. The forever God that we're always talking about is right here with us now. Always with us. The different now is, or the next level now is, or the next step now is, we have to connect with our God that is always connecting with us. It's time now for us to become one with God. We have to begin to remind ourselves who we are and review our ways. Any characteristic that is not of God, say to yourself, I don't want to connect with it anymore. I do not want to connect with anything that is not of God characteristic anymore. I have made that decision. I'm sure you can make that decision as well. And it's not going to be a burden on you, because they find you, no matter how big it is or how small you may think it is, that's the portion of God, portion of God's love allocated to you. Will guide the way and teach you. You just have to stay ready. And when we review our ways, we are able to renew. Renewal, it's a way of life. It's a daily ritual. It's a way of life. And the strong arms of Morimi Fire will keep us in our lights, keep us reformed forever. Generations into generations. Generations of ancestors that we are. Ancestors, they love us, they carry us, we must carry them. They lift us up, we must lift them up. It goes both ways. Ancestors are not our servants. Most people want to be served, but we don't want to serve. People want to be loved, but they don't want to love. God time does not function in the manner that is not straightforward. Alafia to all of us. And I keep all my alafia to myself forever. I have clarity that Morimi Fire will keep us beyond next week. Stay beautiful and stay in love with who you are without compromise.